Hi, and welcome to Brett's Corner, where we cover everything small business. From how to start a business, to how to grow your business, to how to keep your books, and ultimately how to position and sell your business, and some things to think about after you've sold your business. If you're a small business owner, or you're thinking of being a small business owner, you're in the right place. My name is Brett Husselball, and I've been a small business owner for over half my career. I started my first small business in 1995. I quickly grew that one to over multi-millions in revenue, and I sold that to a Fortune 500 in 1998. I started my second small business in 2000. I grew that one more slowly to over $1 million in revenue, and I sold that to a multi-billion-dollar corporation in 2014. And now I'm retired. And what I like to do here at the Corner is to share the benefit of my experience with you. So, before we begin, a quick disclaimer. Number one, I'm not an attorney. I will share with you some of the experiences I've had regarding legal issues and what worked for me, but what worked for me may not work for you. If you have specific legal questions, consult an attorney. Number two, I'm not a CPA, nor am I a certified financial planner. But like every business owner, I know my financials, and we'll talk financials, and I'll share with you some of the things that you should know. But if you have specific financial questions or tax questions, consult a professional. Same goes with investment questions. Consult a professional. So, with that out of the way, let's get on to today's video. Hi, in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the very first steps you're going to do to start your business. Number one, you're going to have to choose a name. Number two, you're going to have to lock that name in. And number three, you're going to have to register that name. You'll have to do all that before you can open bank accounts or do anything else that you want to do with your business. So let's talk about names. I remember my first company. My first company was called Tobek, T-O-B-E-K. And along the way, somebody said, Tobek doesn't mean anything. You should think about changing the name. So I thought about it. And then I remember being on site one night at a customer doing an inventory, thinking to myself about their name and how Reebok didn't seem to mean anything either, and it sounded a lot like Tobek. So I decided to keep our name Tobek, and so we did. My second company was named Intelligent Solutions, and I have created a third company that I call Sirasoft, as in software for the cloud. So you can choose any name, but some things to think about. Number one, you got to make it easy for people to find you. So if you're going to choose a name, make it spelled like it sounds. So when people go searching for you on Google, they're going to find you. And number two, if you can get the name of your company equal to a domain name, well, that's important. So you want to see if you can actually get a domain that hasn't been taken yet, especially a .com domain. Again, so people can find you easily. You want your customers to find you. Other than that, name is up to you. But you'll put a lot of thought into it. So number two, after you get that name or come up with the name, and you probably want to come up with a few, because likely the first name you come up with will have already been taken. The next step you do is you go right to GoDaddy.com and you see if that domain is available. And if it's not, you keep trying and trying and trying. You'll spend a lot of time probably there until you finally find a domain that's available. So have a lot of second choices. And once you find that domain, then you want to lock it in. Buy it right there. They're not that expensive. Number three, after you get that name locked in with GoDaddy, I can assure you, not positively, but pretty well 99% sure that when you go to register that name either as a fictitious name or as a corporation or an LLC, that name will be available in your state. Most people will have already done the same thing. They'll have locked in the domain before they go lock it in with the state. So then you'll have your name locked in with the state. After you've done that, then you can go file for an EIN, an employer identification number with the IRS. You'll need that to register your company as a tax entity. So let me show you how that's done. We'll go to the computer now. So now that we have a name, we need to lock it in. So the first place I like to go is GoDaddy.com. You can go other places, but I find GoDaddy has good pricing and it's quick and easy to search for domains. So you want to see if your domain is available. So you just go up, it's right there on the front page, and type in your first choice of names. So let's see if Brett's Corner is available. I doubt it is. And it comes up and says, no, sorry, it's taken. But you can try again. What happens if I spell it with a K? Brett's Corner. And search for that. Well, that one's available. If I like that, I can go ahead and add it to my cart, check out, and I recommend you buy it right now so no one else can get it. It's not that expensive. If you do something else with a different name later, fine, you didn't waste a bunch of money. Now, I also recommend being careful about alternate spellings like this because it makes it harder for people to find you when they Google search you. But let's say you've now chosen your name, you've got it registered as a domain. I recommend registering as a .com domain. There might be other things available, but .com is obviously the most common. Then you have to go over and find out how to lock that name in with your state. You need to register your name with the state. I'm going to assume for this case that you're going to start your business as a sole proprietorship. That's how I started my first business, and I quickly converted it to a corporation within a year, but a lot of businesses start as sole proprietor. There's a whole nother video on how to form your business. So if you're starting as a sole proprietor, most likely you've chosen a name that is not your name. And because you've done that, you're going to have to register that alternate name with the state. It's just a different way of referring to you, the legal entity, the individual. You've given yourself a new name that you also go by. You've heard as also known as AKA. Well, that's a fictitious name. And so you need to register for a fictitious name. You'll have to do that before you can open a bank account with the bank. They're going to want to see that. So just Google the name of your state, in my case Florida, space corporations. Look for a state site like a .gov site. Don't go to some sponsored advertising site. And then find from there how to, or just Google fictitious name for that matter for your state. In Florida, they make it easy, starting a business. Down here at the bottom, fictitious name registration. Click on it, go to fictitious name, follow the instructions. There's a small fee involved, and now you have a fictitious name, and you can request the certificate. The bank's going to want to see that when you go to open a bank account. The bank wants to see proof that you own the name that you're trying to open a bank account as. So they're going to want to see that fictitious name. Now, if your business is a corporation or an LLC, that is a legal entity in and of itself. You do not need a fictitious name for the name of a corporation. That is its own name. But for yourself, going by a different name, which is the name of your business, you'll need a fictitious name certificate. So lock that in. And finally, once you've locked that name in, you can apply for an EIN. Now, if you're operating as yourself, as a sole proprietor, you can probably use your Social Security number. But if you're going to operate as a different legal entity, such as a corporation or an LLC, you're going to have to apply for an EIN. You might check with your accountant. You may have to apply for EIN even if you're operating as a sole proprietorship. But you go look for the IRS, look for EIN, that's Employee Identification Number, Employer Identification Number, and then follow the instructions. And once you've locked that in, now you have your business at least named. And now you have what you need to go set up a bank account because that's going to be your next step. So to recap, number one, you need to come up with a name. That'll take you a while. Number two, you need to lock that name in. I recommend going to GoDaddy.com. Get your domain first. That'll be the hardest name to lock in. Then go to your state. If you're going to be a sole proprietor, you'll probably need a fictitious name certificate. Lock that in. If you're a corporation, lock that name in there as well. Third, go to the IRS, request an employer identification number if you need one, and then lock it in there. Those are the first three things that you'll need to do. Then you can set up a bank account and move on from there. To know what to do next, check with some of our other videos. If you like the content you've seen here today, please remember to follow us. And as always, if you have any questions, please direct those questions to info@brettscorner.com. I will monitor those emails and respond to you in email. Thank you.